Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to week 2 of our live account update. Had a decent gain this week, even considering it was over New Year's with the forex market shut down and relatively low volatility. But happy with the outcome. And what I'm going to cover in this video today, I'll talk a little bit about the net asset value versus balance. I'll go over a little bit of how the algorithm and the automation works. So if you do make changes on Oanda, you'll be able to see how EpicFlow automatically corrects things since it is fully automated. Again, I wanted to highlight to everyone, this is not a platform to make a lot of money really fast. It is a platform that will build and grow over time. We're seeing healthy returns. We can't guarantee those returns, but we're pretty happy with them, and most of the users right now are. We do have over 100 users on the platform. We are managing over $7 million in live accounts. And the way that works, I wanted to explain a little bit about it, is we have epicflow.io, which is our platform that is managing the trades through an automation layer called an API on Oanda.com. EpicFlow does not touch your money. We do not have access to withdrawal, transfer, or any of that from your balance. All that this platform does is manages trades. So we'll monitor pricing based off of the parameters you've set or configured in the autopilot settings, and we'll manage those trades and we'll monitor the price, we'll set the profit targets, we'll start the orders, we'll set limit orders, we'll set trailing stop loss. So this all happens without you having to touch anything apart from the configuration to start. So that's one of the benefits that we have, that we can go out and do what we want to do, that you can go out and do what you want to do, and just let it run. All right, let's get to it.
Okay, let's take a look at this past week. We had a pretty good end to this week, with today having a number of exits generating. You can see here, a little over $218. A little bit of that is the inclusion of this $81 transaction. What this is that Oanda, who is our FX broker that we use, has an incentive program for any unused margin, you get a monthly interest payment. So basically, we've had about $50,000 of unused margin for these past 2 weeks, which a little bit of that was in December. Today is January 5th. And we got paid out $81 of interest payment on that margin that wasn't used during the last couple weeks of December. So again, another incentive, just a way to add money. And we show that when you get it within the chart, as well as if you hover over the balance, you'll see here that we'll say the EpicFlow EF balance change is $137 positive. 137 plus 81 equals $218. So that's what you'll see. If there's deposits made, that would show up in the balance. Your balance would increase. If there's withdrawals, your balance would decrease. And hovering over it will showcase what EpicFlow has generated in addition to whatever else that happened. So let's take a look at this last week. Almost 0.75% gain. And if we look at the last 2 weeks that it's been running, we've had over a 1% return. Again, $81 of that is the interest payment. So taking that out, just shy of 1%, almost $500 is what EpicFlow has generated in profit. And one of the things I wanted to highlight is the difference between balance and the NAV, the net asset value. So if we take a look at our balance, and what we do is all of the growth percentages that you see, we target those, and everything that you see in the emails on the weekly or monthly results, the growth is based on the balance. The net asset value can fluctuate because it is your balance minus any of your in-flight or unrealized P&L of your current runs. So if you have a long duration run that is currently in the negative of $300, your net asset value would be $300 less. This can fluctuate wildly, especially in high volatile periods. So we have made the decision to focus growth and percentages based on balance. But it is important to note, what your net asset value is. Again, balance minus any unrealized profit and loss of any of the bot's runs. So what that generally means is if I was to liquidate everything right now, I would have $51,716, even though my balance is, if we hover over here, my balance is 51,713. So it's more. However, let's take a look at the demo account. This has been running for 2 months. And our NAV is less than the balance because of the current unrealized P&L. So our balance is 106,353. Our NAV, or net asset value, is 102,337. So if I was to liquidate, I would liquidate at this current value. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to let it run and let the algorithm do work and generate profit. Again, we're not trying to make a get rich scheme. We're just trying to get a steady, healthy return on a month-to-month basis. Ideally, we are happy with a 2 to 4% return each month. I think anybody would be. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, and every great once in a while, it can be negative. So we can see here that we're only using 3% of our margin. We've had quite a few exits today, which have lowered our margin usage. We can see here we're using just a little over $1,500 of margin. Taking a look at our bots right now, we can see that the New Zealand Swiss franc has basically been running the entire 2 weeks. We have not had an exit yet. It's got 12 orders in here and just waiting. It was very close to exiting earlier. I could have, it was at 19.4 pips where our profit entry was 20 pips. So it was that close to hitting our trailing stop loss. I could have triggered that to close immediately. I could have set up my own trailing stop loss, but I like to live by the words and the advice I give everyone that is on this platform is be patient. Just let it run. It will exit. It is generating finance credits every day. It will go. And a reminder to everyone that this one is currently set to terminate at its current run. The next one that will start after this exit will be the US dollar Canadian going long. It is just a better pair right now based on our algorithm and choice selection on which bots to put in. We can see that the EuroCAD had an exit 15 hours ago. Let's take a look at that. So that exit before this one started ran for 4 days, almost the entirety of last week. And we didn't see a lot of movement last week. It was a holiday, it was New Year's, so everything kind of stayed within that range. It dipped last night and we had a exit because this is a short, right? It dipped. So it had an exit and we generated a 9% return. Again, a relatively low amount, but hey, 10% return on the margin used. I'm happy with that. The Australia Swiss franc, it also had an exit almost 8 hours ago, and that one ran for 3 days, had a 10% return. You can see here that, each exit is generally getting a 10% return on the margin used. The more orders it has, the bigger drop it has because this is long, the more margin it will consume, but we're still gaining around 10% return on each one of those. So again, slow and steady wins the race. We're not trying to get rich quick, as I mentioned earlier. Just let it run and just accruing exits and accruing profit one after another. US dollar Swiss franc also had an exit a few hours ago. It had a couple last week as well. And lastly, the Euro USD has had a number of exits as well over the past week. Relatively small, a couple orders here and there, and then an exit. But again, these all start adding up, and we can see that we have generated almost $500 in the last couple of weeks just from that. New accounts take a little while, especially in low volatile periods, to start building up and generating larger returns. But with the new year starting, we anticipate some movement happening. It's a little interesting because over the weekend, the US had its Venezuelan conflict, and I didn't know which way the market was going to move. I was thinking that there would be an influx onto the Swiss franc, due to it being a safe haven, but it was a relatively muted response. There wasn't a lot of movement yesterday when the market opened. Last night when Europe opened, and this morning with the US opening, the exit started happening and the US dollar, shot up a little bit. It's fallen since then, but again, we were able to take advantage of that while we're sleeping. So let's take a look at some of the emails that we've gotten over the past week. We can see like today, again, I have both a demo and a live account running on this. So we'll get both of those emails. I have another channel, the EpicFlow.io official channel. You can subscribe to that and get updates. I talk a little bit more about platform enhancements and some of the how the application works. So that is going to be on that channel. So I encourage everyone to also subscribe and watch those. But we can see that, again, each email we get, this had a gain of $5, had a finance fee of 4 cents because it only ran for a couple of days over the weekend. We don't get the finance credit on the weekend. That gets paid out on Wednesdays. But what I did want to share with you is we also get a weekly summary that will highlight all the activity during that week. So we can see that the 5 bots we've had 4 of them that had multiple exits. The New Zealand Swiss franc hasn't had an exit yet. We're, again, very close. But we can see that over this last week, we generated almost a 0.5% profit on the balance that we started with. So again, set it and forget it. Just let it run and go enjoy your day. Let EpicFlow.io do all your trading, manage it for you, and just sit back and watch the profit roll in. Okay. I will be back during the week. I expect with the unemployment report coming out, there's some inflation data for Europe and everything else that's happening. The other thing to highlight is the forex economic calendar. We recommend everyone checking out Myfxbook.com, and you can just go to the economic calendar. This will highlight some of the country announcements, just like companies announce earning reports and data about themselves and the stock market reacts. The same thing happens with the foreign exchange market. This will highlight the likely impact of these events on the foreign exchange market. So when there is, like, for example, today, there was a manufacturing PMI report for December, and you can see here that the previous was 48.2. The consensus through a number of economists said it was going to be relatively flat at 48.3, but the actual was a little bit lower. So this is why the US dollar dropped a little bit at 5 o'clock this morning, my time. And we can check that out by going into Oanda or any kind of trading view. So we can see that if we go to the US dollar Swiss franc and the trading view, they have that available in your Oanda trading hub. And we can take a look at right around 5 o'clock this morning, my time. We saw that it started its decline. It was kind of going up and down a little bit before then. But at 5 a.m., with that news alert, it has dropped and it's been hovering around this since. And we can see what's upcoming. In Europe, we have Germany highlighting some of its indicators. And throughout the week, you can just scroll through. Tomorrow, Australia has their high impact information that's being released. And for the US dollar, what we'll see is on Thursdays, the jobless claims, the job reports come out. And on Friday, we should have the unemployment report. And we can see that, hey, what was it last time? What is it expected this time? And if it varies greatly, that has high impact on the foreign exchange market. So if you see high jumps up and down, you can always check the calendar event to see what correlated with that. But the beauty of our platform is you don't have to babysit this. It automatically has that. And what's cool, and when I wanted to highlight, is let's take a look in Oanda. I want to showcase something. So we can see our positions. Again, this will match your bots in EpicFlow.io. And we can see that we have open orders. All of these open orders have been set by EpicFlow. You can see all these pending orders. These are the orders that we're setting up based off of our algorithm. If I come in and let's say I wanted to highlight what our automation does. So if for some reason, let's just close this particular limit order that is in the system. I'm going to cancel that. So this will go away. And our algorithm are constantly monitoring, and it's going to show that, hey, we should have another order in the system, but it's gone. It will automatically go and place that order back in the system. Boom. You can see that just popped back in there. So we're monitoring the prices. We handle everything for you. So if the price jumps up, then we need to exit. We set it to the trailing stop loss. If it drops, we'll buy more, etc. So this handles everything for you. As I mentioned, set it and forget it. The system is automated and handles everything for you. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. You can hit the little bell icon to get notified when there is a new update. I expect a little bit more videos now with the volatility increasing with some of the economic data that's coming out this week and the rest of this month. So stay tuned and hopefully we'll have some larger exits to share. All right, happy trading.